Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Whiz. I'm PD here, your host and your quiz master. So, I'm here with the five answers for yesterday's questions and five more new questions for you today. So, I hope you're excited for the same. And before we begin, I have an exciting piece of news for all of you. So, since we're getting such amazing responses, maybe a lot on one to one basis and some on YouTube as well. So we are planning to start off with a daily cash prize, which can be sent via Google Pay or however that we'll work it out. So a daily cash prize of INR 200 rupees will be given out to the person who can get most number of answers right. So please send the answers, write them in the comments below more than sending it on one-to-one basis because it's easier for us to track. And whoever will get most number of answers right, he will get a Paytm or a Google Pay of 200 rupees from our side, from Whiz. So on this note, let's start off with yesterday's five questions, the answers to the same. So yesterday's first question was, YONO is an integrated digital banking platform offered by the SBI or State Bank of India to enable users to access a variety of financial and other services such as flight, train, bus and taxi bookings, online shopping or medical bill payments. YONO is offered as a smartphone app both for Android and iOS. What does YONO stand for? So YONO, as we know the term YOLO, that is you only live once. So similarly, YONO means you only need one. So that is the full form of YONO that we were looking for. Moving on to our second question for yesterday. Who was the first African American elected in the presidential position for the Harvard Law Review? Now, obviously, when you would have heard the term African American and presidential, so I guess the answer can be worked out from just those three terms. So the answer we were looking for is Barack Obama. So that was the answer for the second question. Moving on to our third question for yesterday. In 1936, King Emperor Edward VIII proposed to marry Wallis Simpson, an American socialite who was divorced from her first husband and was pursuing the divorce of her second. What was the name given to the crisis and which was the first newspaper to report about the same? So, the name of the crisis was the abdication crisis, and the name of the newspaper which was there to cover it was the Yorkshire Post. So that was the answer for the fourth question. So for the third question, moving on to our fourth question for yesterday. The alcohol must be aged for at least 2 years and the grapes are specific to this region. Also, it has to be mainly Ugni Blanc with small portions of Colombard and Folie Blanche allowed in order for it to be called by this particular name. Double distilled in copper pot stills and aged at least 2 years in oak barrels. Otherwise, this is only known as brandy. If this process is not followed, it's only known as brandy. So what were we talking about? So the answer that we were looking for is cognac. So that was the answer we were looking for. And now for our last question for yesterday. Which street, mentioned in several works of Charles Dickens, runs west to east from Temple Bar at the boundary wall with the city of Westminster to Ludgate Circus at the site of the London Wall and named after the river? So the answer we were looking for is Fleet Street. So this was the home of the British press from 1702 to 1989. And now it's time for the five questions for today. So here comes question number 1. 2/3 of the total country's land area is covered by forests with a total area of 2,80,650 square kilometers. Half of the land is owned by private people and 1/4 is owned by private companies. The biggest single owner is the state though. So which country are we talking about? Moving on to question number 2. No documents survive to prove Christopher Wren designed it. This was rebuilt at Theobald's Park, Cheshunt. Today, this has been rebuilt at Paternoster Square opposite St. Paul's Cathedral in the heart of London. Identify this iconic place that we are talking about. Moving on to question number 3 for today. Which was the first UK national newspaper to carry a crossword on 2nd of November 1924? So what we are looking for is the name of the newspaper. Moving on to question number 4 for today. Who was the first editor for the Daily News, which later merged with the Daily Chronicle to form the News Chronicle? So we want to know who was the first editor for the same. And now, for our last question for today. Which war was fought from 16 December 1880 until 23rd March 1881 between the United Kingdom and the Boers of Transvaal? So these were our 5 questions for today. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you enjoyed the answers for yesterday's questions. So now that you know that we have something exciting for you, I'm looking forward to more answers, and I'm trying to mix the questions as much as possible, trying to give some easy ones and some tough ones. So let's see a lot of answers in the comments below, and please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. I will be back tomorrow with 5 more answers and 5 more questions. So please stay tuned. Till tomorrow, please stay safe, take care, good night and keep quizzing.